Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to the show. Got my crew with me, Darnell and Tyler. I'm Trey, and we're coming your way with the 50th edition of the Don't Kill the Messengers podcast. First thing we're about to get into is the UFC with UFC 207 that happened last week. Pretty good card. Before we get into Rousey and her loss, we're about to talk about Cody versus Dom, man. That was a pretty good fight. Darnell, what did you think about that fight?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a surprise. Like, everybody thought Dominic Cruz would be the riddle that would have to be solved in that fight by Cody Garbrandt, but he was I can't even say he was the aggressor, but for as good as Dominic Cruz usually is at getting in people's heads, it's Cody that was kind of clowning him and making Cruz uncomfortable.
Kind of doing some Roy Jones antics in the ring.
Or Anderson Silva.
Oh, yeah, too,
I would say, yeah. Putting his hands down and doing push-ups in the middle of a fight. It's like, I mean, he came in with supreme confidence, and it really threw Cruz off. And this is the first fighter I've ever seen that really just kind of had Cruz's timing.
Yeah.
Whenever he stopped going lateral and went in to attack, Dominic was always coming out, getting hit 3-4 times. And like, it was kind of amazing to see. And, like, for sure, I thought Cody's shot was catching him clean early with a hard shot.
Exactly.
But he just kind of owned him for the most part of that fight.
Yeah, man, I was very shocked by this. I agree with you. I thought Cody was going to have to knock him out in order to win. A lot of people, they look at a guy like Demetrius Johnson, how he's dominated his division. I felt the same way about Dominic. I thought that was just his division, man. He was just going to dominate in it. But went against Cody. There's a lot of trash talk between the two. But, Cody came in there and stepped his game up and won in great fashion. Was not scared of him. Went in there, like you just said, kind of pulled some Anderson Silva antics up in there, and he got the job done. He's a champ. So just well played out. Hard on him, man. Just staying focused and getting the job done. Now, do you think, because after the fight, he called out, oh my goodness, TJ Dillashaw. Yeah. Do you think Dillashaw should be fighting him for the belt next, or do you think they should possibly do another rematch between the two, between Cody and Dominic, or what do you feel?
No, I think Cody won convincingly enough where an immediate rematch shouldn't be on the table. Yeah. I know Dominic Cruz has been a dominant champion when he's been healthy.
Yeah.
But I guess technically he's only had the belt for one defense right now.
Yeah.
So you can't really call for it to be not like he stepped up to he hasn't been defending the title for years. Even though he never technically lost his belt.
Yeah.
He hasn't been just running the division. He was out. I mean, sucks to be out for injury, but it happened. He had to relinquish the title. So as far as the record books goes, this was his second title reign, and he defended it once, but that resume doesn't show that he deserves to step right back in for a rematch. And Dillashaw hasn't lost since he lost to Dominic Cruz, so
yeah.
I think he's well in line, and it's a storyline that writes itself. The quote traitor of Team Alpha Male against their new star.
Yeah.
So I think that would be like it's just got all kinds of ways you can go with that, how you can promote it and hype it. Uriah Faber is going to be there in Cody Garbrandt's corner, and him and TJ Dillashaw have been publicly like throwing shots at each other since TJ left the camp. So I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, definitely don't have a problem with that. Either way, it's going to be a good matchup, regardless if it's the rematch or against Dillashaw. But yeah, do understand that this would be a good way for Dillashaw to get the belt back, man. I think that would be an entertaining fight to see. Up next, about to get right to it, man. Ronda Rousey versus Amanda Nunes, man. Wow. What were your thoughts on that, man? It was short. It wasn't really that much to think about, but
Well, I mean, it was like we talked about last week. We were just wondering which Rousey would we get back, and I mean, I'm not saying like I'm pretty sure she did everything she thought she needed to do to prepare to get back in the ring and do some things to try to get back her belt.
Yeah.
But I just think she went from one extreme to another and it didn't work because through her reigns, Ronda was in front of any camera that she needed to put her in front of, and she was the face of the company. She did everything and uber confident.
Yeah.
But then after that loss, she basically turned into a hermit. No media, not talking to anybody outside of a couple sparse interviews or a statement through her publicist or something on Twitter every now and then. And, it turned out that wasn't the way for her to go either. And I mean, I still think also the underlying problem was just she had surpassed her coaches. She needed to be in one of the top camps and getting things done that way. So I mean, if there's any shot for her, if she does still feel the need to fight or want to fight, I think the only way for her to start making her way back up that mountain is to, make her way to Jackson's or over in the camp with DC and his camp. Just something. She needs to make her way to a big camp and drop her boxing coach and the people she works with. She needs to get with a legit camp now.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that because she's been winning with them, but one of the hardest thing in sports to do is kind of get rid of your day ones, the people that was with you from the beginning. But I was just about to ask you that, man. Because that was a huge loss for her. I thought Amanda Nunes was at least going to come up in there and move around a little bit. Try to get a feel for Ronda Rousey. Since I thought she would probably have respect for her. Feel okay, not just hop up in here and start swinging at her, but man, she just came in there, just let's get this money and get this fight over with, man. And,
yeah, that's not Amanda's. That's not her way. She's an aggressor, and she's at her best in the first round. Like I've made the joke, she's a girl version of Vitor kind
of.
Like
Brazilians,
if she can catch you in that first 2-3 minutes, that's when you're gonna go down. You have to be able to weather that storm.
Yeah.
And Ronda wasn't ready for it. Her boxing's not up to par now with the division. I mean, she put that division on the map, but it looks like it's past her now.
Yeah.
If she wants to catch back up, she needs to catch up with the times and start reaching out to some elite coaches, elite striking coaches, get back to working with, some Olympic judokas to keep her game back up on point there, to figure out how to mesh those two things together, get a good wrestling coach to fuse those things together as well. But like I said, that's a big if. It depends on if she actually still has it in her heart to fight. I mean, that's the big question right now. We questioned it coming into this fight. How much does she still really want this?
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't judge it, especially from a fight that was so short, to see if she really wanted it, because she got stunned early. People will probably make jokes just how she can't take a punch or something like that now, but I mean, pre Holly Holm, she took some good shots. And Adam still did what she needed to do, but that was a stiff jab on the button. It looked like it clouded her up. Like she had cobwebs from that point on.
Yeah.
It just quickly went downhill. So I'm not gonna say she went in there not wanting to fight, not prepared, but she got caught with a good shot. Yes, downhill. She got hit by the hardest puncher probably in that division.
Yeah. Now, we're kind of about to play with the, the whole if game, she didn't really say anything yet about possible retirement or, fighting again, from what I've heard. How do you feel right now? Are you feeling, she's going to give it one more go? You think she's going to retire? How do you feel about this?
If I had to just throw money on it right now, gun in my head, I say she's probably done.
Okay.
I would like her to try to step back in one more time, like with a good camp, in a good camp.
Yeah.
If she were to make those steps, I would feel a lot better about a decision for her to try to come back. But if she wants to keep the same crew together and try to do it one more time, I think she's just setting herself up for another devastating loss. And the next time it's not going to be against an elite fighter. It's not going to be for a title.
Yeah.
It's gonna. If she gets another fight, it's going to be all right. Here, we'll give you the number 5 or 6 person in this division, and if she loses that, then it has to be game over.
Yes.
She's not marketable anymore.
Yeah. Another thing too, I was just kind of thinking about, because women in MMA, that's kind of relatively new. She has put that on the map. But she's not. Obviously, you can look at her, tell that she's not, doing what she used to do. I'm just kind of interested to see, further on, how Father Time catches up to the women in the UFC. Because, we see time and time again, how I can catch up with the men. But, is this truly, because, Ronda Rousey, she's still pretty young. But, does this catch up to the women in a much further, younger time than it does the men? So that'll just be something interesting I would like to see, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But another question, man, for the UFC, we got JJ Nunez, my girl Cyborg, even though she's having trouble making weight with some of her fights. Who do you think is the baddest chick in MMA?
It's JJ, no doubt.
JJ, no doubt?
Yeah, I mean, she's just nasty in the ring. I know she's not the biggest girl in the fight, but she has probably the cleanest technique. She does the most things well. I know Cyborg is scary too, but I think she's got a couple too many marks on her record as far as doping.
Yeah, she just recently had.
Yeah, she's had another violation, and I don't know. Not enough has come out about it. Apparently, it might be due to an actual prescription she got from a doctor for something.
Yeah.
But she has popped dirty in the past and had to be suspended. Even though this came from a doctor, she may get a suspension reduced or whatever comes down from it. But it just adds to a black mark that's already been on her. So I can't say she is, even though she's. I mean, anybody at her weight, or if she can make the weight to fight, she probably wins.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody that I think could beat her. And they're opening up. Finally, they're opening up the division she's meant to be in.
Yeah.
UFC. So we'll see what comes from that. Maybe this time next year, I'm changing my tune.
Yeah.
But right now, Joanna, she's the woman of the sport right now.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, man. She just goes hard in the ring, man. But Nunez, she keeps it up. She can keep making a name for herself as well. But JJ, I got to give it to her as well, man. She just keeps going at it, keep finding ways to win. Her stand up is flawless. So got to give it to JJ as well. All right, man. Anything you would like to add to the UFC?
That was good card to finish off the year.
Yeah, exactly. I know my man Ty saw that Rousey fight. He had sent us some texts about it, so I gave his little 2 cents in it. But up next, we're about to get right into the NCAA football. What were you guys' favorite? What would you say your favorite bowl game was so far to watch?
I think consensus would lead you one of two ways. You would either say the Rose Bowl, and that's probably what I would lean towards. High scoring game came down to the end, or you'd probably lean toward the Orange Bowl, where Florida State held off Michigan's late second half, fourth quarter surge. I think both of those games had a lot of what you were looking for. A lot of scoring, an intense last 5 minutes or so in a game. I think both games were fought very hard. Just good college football that comes down to the wire. And I think that those were 2 New Year's Six games that gave everybody what they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, most people are probably going to go between those 2 games. The Rose Bowl was definitely fun. It was, good old-fashioned shootout. Ball getting flung back and forth and a lot of explosive plays. I probably lean more towards the Orange Bowl myself, though, because there was actually some semblance of defense played. I do like that side of the ball, so I probably lean that way. And, there was drama at the end of that one, too. So
where I would side with you there with that Orange Bowl is the first half was all about Florida State's defense, and the second half was more Michigan's defense. And I think the Orange Bowl was tainted a little bit. No Jabril Peppers. Would have he made a difference? I think he would have made a difference, but I don't know whether you can say Michigan for sure would have won with him in the game. I mean, he would have definitely helped with some extra coverage in the passing game and definitely stopping Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook roped off a couple of really big, unfortunate plays if you're a Michigan fan. And then, Jordan Lewis just got beat pretty bad a few times in that game, which wasn't really great to see. I think that game was a poor representation of what Michigan's defense had shown a lot this year. But I do think Florida State was one of the more explosive teams that they've seen all year. They didn't see anybody like Dalvin Cook all year long. I think, I'm not going to say, Jabril Peppers was the difference between a win or a loss, but the second half, the Michigan defense definitely made some adjustments in that locker room, and they got good pressure on Francois all game long. He just stepped up and made some really big throws and some big plays.
Good thing. Well, you got something to add to that, Darnell?
No, I was just gonna agree. I was surprised at some of the plays that Michigan's defense gave up, especially like you're saying on Jordan Lewis's side down the sideline.
He gave up an 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that's not something you'd expect from him. Because of how that game turned out, there was a lot of there was some shifting in some people's draft status on that game, I think. Cook might have become the number 1 running back in the draft, and Jordan Lewis probably dropped from a surefire first rounder to maybe second or third. Or he at least has some work to do in the combine if he's going to get himself back up to where people looked at him and projected him.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Pepper's side. I forgot to ask you guys. They say it was a hamstring injury. But do you guys think he was really injured, or do you think he was just saving himself up for the draft?
I think he was actually hurt.
Okay.
I know he's a top competitor, loves to compete, will do anything for the team he's on. The only reason I would not say he was saving himself for the draft because you saw him in the warm-ups. They had video of that. There was tape. And the moment you could tell he couldn't really give it 100%, he, ran a little backdrop and caught a ball and kind of gimped toward the sideline, and he looked real defeated. You could tell on his face that he wanted nothing more than to play. Yeah. But maybe in the long run, it'll benefit him if he decides to go pro. That's something Michigan fans will definitely have their eye on. His decision has not been made. There have been reports that have said he's going to go pro. He came out on Twitter and said, "Don't believe anything you hear until you hear it from Michigan or me." So Definitely a big decision in his future. But I do think he was actually hurt.
Okay.
I do as well. I mean, I joked about it when they said he was out early. Like I think I texted you guys saying was strained hamstring. Code for saving myself for the draft.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, you could tell by talking to him, seeing him, like he was almost crying, talking about if he would have had one more day to heal, he think he could have played. I take him at his word. I think he really wanted to be out there with his cohorts to try to get that bowl game. I don't believe anything he says to try to quash that he's not going to the draft, but I do believe he wanted to play in the game.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll touch on kind of the two part of what you said there, Darnell. Even though it was kind of joke like, you saying, maybe saving himself for the draft, like it's not that far off of a thought, only because of what Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey have done. Guys who are at the top of college football sitting out. So, it was definitely fair to at least entertain that thought. And then secondly, I think we do have to at least give Jabril the benefit of the doubt that he could return. Only because, Michigan's going to rope in one of the top recruiting classes this year. They'll at least be a top 5 in my opinion. Maybe if they're just outside of it, they'll be number 6. But, I think there is a chance he comes back, but I would lean that he's going to go pro. If I had to say one or the other, I would lean he's going to enter the draft.
Okay. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. Just for me to add something else too, man, I got to give a shout out to them, but huge shout out to Western Michigan in their season.
Yeah.
No, they came up short. They didn't get the win. Everybody wants to win, but they really don't have anything to be disappointed about with themselves. A lot of people were questioning them. Is this team for real? And they went in there and they hung in there with a good team. So Western Michigan has nothing to be disappointed about at all. So, all right, up next to just the playoffs. Just what are you guys' thoughts on the playoffs for last week?
2 duds, kind of. I mean, the Alabama-Washington game was at least entertaining for the first half.
Yeah.
Before the depth and the size between the teams, you could see it start to take effect. Washington did. They put up a good fight, especially defensively. They held Alabama in check for a good while. They made Jalen Hurts look like a freshman. First game, we could really say that he totally looked like a freshman. I think Alabama tried to get a little too cute on offense at times. Kiffin was trying to do some stuff they didn't really need to do. This was a game that was built for a traditional what Nick Saban wants. Just keep pounding the football into them, and at some point they're going to break down, as what they went to in the second half and gave Bo Scarborough the ball, and Washington started to fade quickly. And Alabama's defense, they showed what they were outside of that first drive where Washington marched down and scored on a 16-yard throw. Like outside of that, Washington didn't cross midfield again until the fourth quarter, till their last drive. So, you show basically what we thought the difference between the teams. It was there.
Yeah.
And then, Clemson, Ohio State. Good God.
That was. Who did you guys have for your pick'ems on that game, by the way?
I had Ohio.
I had Ohio State. Yeah, it was bad, man.
And like, funny enough, like, I don't think Ohio State's defense played as bad as the score was, but their offense was so terrible that
it was a field.
They couldn't. Yeah, I mean,
position.
If they're getting shut out, 3 and outs, it's going to wear on a defense. They got to keep continually just going back on the field. So
yeah,
The offense should have.
They did cause 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
And
early too.
Yeah.
First half turnovers.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you're on the field all day and your offense is giving you no help, it makes for a very long day. And, if a team can turn the ball over twice and still not let you score and blow you out of the water like that,
that's bad.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but this one guy, I forgot who it was, but wrote this letter to the Ohio State kicker and basically saying, like, I hope that you're not on scholarship. You're the worst kicker I've ever seen. You shouldn't even be on the team. Your dad's going to go into work all embarrassed because of you. And it's like, hold on a second. Like, that whole entire Ohio State offense looked
Yeah, not just his
like,
fault.
and to blame it on the kicker because he missed 2 kicks. It's like 6 points doesn't do crap when you're down 31.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're blaming the kicker. What, like, JT Barrett played terrible. Samuel had 69 yards and 64 of them were on one play.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, you can't put it on a kicker when your team gets a goose egg.
Yeah. And it was one thing we talked about last week. And I said, I thought it would be the difference in the game. You're looking at, a quarterback who really bounced back this year after a bad start and in Deshaun Watson, and he played better than JT Barrett did. I mean, JT Barrett in big games seemed to fade away where Deshaun Watson rose up.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. So I think the Clemson team was also just really hungry from last year. They wanted another shot at Alabama, and they knew in order to get it, they had to put it to Ohio State, and they did. In terms of the Alabama-Washington game, kind of like, you kind of called it though, Darnell. Like, you said this game parallels the Alabama-Michigan State game from last year. And that's what we got after the first quarter, because, I mean, Washington moved the ball in the first quarter. They actually looked like they could hang. The defense was aggressive and tough. And then the other 3 quarters happened and everything looked completely different. The only thing the Washington defense did, really textbook, was keep Jalen Hurts very under control and pressured.
Yeah, they made him throw.
He did absolutely nothing. And the game basically rested on the defense in Scarborough. And I'll take that defense over anybody. And Scarborough is good enough to move an offense on his own. So Hurts is going to have to step up, because I imagine they're going to be in a few more passing downs against Clemson.
Yeah.
So, he's going to have to at least make more throws. I'm not saying he needs to take control of the game, but he's going to have to find a way. And I don't know if it's going to take more efficient route running, if it's going to take smarter route running, quicker passes. All I know is he's going to have to complete some passes early, and he's going to have to complete some passes often.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Clemson could potentially sneak away with this one.
Yeah. That next game, it's definitely going to be one where they have to script some plays early to get Hurts, maybe do some bootlegs to his side, just get him some easy throws to get confidence early, because he's going to be needed to at least be okay. I'm not saying he has to be great for them to win next game, but he has to be at least serviceable, because, I mean, he was terrible in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't have your quarterback play like that against a team that is on your level, which it looks like Clemson is based on their game, unless Ohio State was some sort of a fluke, which I don't think any of us think that.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to what you're saying, as far as, like, I actually went back and looked at the box scores, just to look at numbers between Alabama, Washington, and Alabama, Michigan State, and it was crazy how close the numbers matched up. And I mean, even just how the games went. If you remember, last drive of the first quarter, Michigan State did drive down, but Connor Cook threw an interception and said it's going a touchdown. Yeah. And like from there, like I said, just snowballed into just being beaten up like Alabama does to teams. That's just their blueprint. That's what they do. You might be able to get some on them early where they're trying to adjust to your offense, but once they have it, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah. You guys basically going, talk right up into it. Just continue, what are your expectations for this rematch?
I think that's really going to depend on what Jalen Hurts can bring.
Factor.
Yeah, this was,
definitely.
I was telling Ty before the show, I like him. I think the guy has the potential to be an Heisman candidate down the road. But, he's a freshman, how much, pressure, is this guy going to have coming into this title game? Because, this is a huge stage for him, for a freshman. So, it's a lot of, he's going to be the key factor in this game. If they don't have a receiver open and, can he make a play with his feet? If the running game's not working, good, what plays is he going to be able to pull through and make, to help this Alabama team win? So, I like the guy, dude has great potential, but, that's just my huge question for him. Is this just too big of a stage for him right now?
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying earlier, they're going to have to build the game plan to make sure they put him in good spots to make plays for him. They're going to have to call their offense in a way to try to put him in third and threes, third and fives versus third and eights, to where they're stuck depending on him to make a play with his arm. I do think he's capable of it. He's talented. We've seen enough games to show that he's talented enough to make plays.
Yeah.
But he's a young guy. So, an 18-year-old confidence can change with the win, basically. So, and he's a pre-poised kid. I've never seen him really show like frustration. He didn't even show it in a bad game this week. But I definitely think they're going to have to get into the room, watch film, and make sure he's as prepared as possible and call plays to put him in good spots. You can't just throw the game on him and just say throw us to a victory. That's not happening with him, at least not right now. But I think they'll do what needs to be done. I think Saban saw what he needs to do, and this is going to be a run-heavy game plan. I'm not sure if it'll be quite as much read option as they did against Washington. I think they did that because that's something that Washington has shown they have issues with. They may go back to being a little bit more traditional against Clemson, except for sets where they do have plans for Hurts to have that option to run.
Yeah, and I think in terms of Clemson, we're going to see a lot of what we saw against Ohio State. I think we're going to see Watson need to figure out that defense again. We kind of saw it last year. Watson, he had a huge second half last year against them in the national championship game. I think we're going to see something quite similar. I think we're going to see him field him out for a couple drives in the first quarter, maybe get a score. Second quarter, you start to see him make a few more plays. And I think in the second half, he'll start making some of the passes he needs to make, and they might break a run or two. He may get a receiver on a deep route and he just scrambles out of the pocket from the pressure and gains 25 yards with his feet. I think this game is going to be all about Deshaun Watson for Clemson. I think the defense is going to try and take a page out of Washington. This is really try and contain him within the pocket and force him to throw, but try and make him throw with a guy in his face. The only thing that they can't let Hurts do is start to get big gains with his feet. I think it's going to be the same, goal for Alabama. It's just I trust Deshaun Watson's arm more than I trust Jalen Hurts' arm.
Yeah. All right, guys. Lane Kiffin, he's been making news. Won't be with the team for the title game. Just how will his absence affect Bama even more?
I mean, it'll have an effect. You lose the offensive coordinator that your kids are used to dealing with and being in the film room with to help get game plan set. It'll have an effect, but Saban did do something mid-season, I think, with the expectation that he would have to make this transition. Probably not right this moment, not before the biggest game of the year, but he brought in a guy that is kind of in the same mindset as far as X's and O's as Lane Kiffin.
And good job on you calling that out, man. You called it as soon as it basically came out that you got Sarkisian, so
yeah.
You saw it coming.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it was a smart move. It was a guy that basically had been thrown on a garbage heap, but it was a chance to at least get him a job while he's trying to get his life straight. And you have a very good coordinator that it was only a matter of time before some schools started calling for him to get a head coaching job. So, it's never good if you have to make a transition before a game, let alone a national championship game. But he made the transition as easy as it could be by getting somebody that Kiffin was actually a co-coordinator with at one point at USC.
Yep. All right, guys. Now, who do you have winning?
I really don't like to pick against Alabama.
But you're about
well, maybe not. I mean, honestly, this is one of the bigger toss-ups. And the only reason I say that is because for the first time, people are starting to potentially doubt Jalen Hurts. We didn't really see him make a big play against Washington. So is it going to be another game where their defense just dominates it and the run game can do enough? Or is Jalen Hurts going to turn it over 3 times? The question starts coming in, do you replace him? I don't know. I see more question marks around Alabama, but then you remember that they're Alabama. They find a way. They always do. So that makes me stick with them. Is Saban just going to be one of those guys that has Dabo Swinney's number? That seems to happen in the coaching world. I think I'm going to stick with Bama here only because I really like that defense. They really know what they're doing. I really like Scarborough. I feel like he'll break one if they need it. I think Hurts will figure it out. I think they'll form a plan. Like I said, whether it's more efficient routes or just smarter play calling, smarter routes, I think they'll figure it out. I think Hurts will struggle a little early, but like I said, I just think he'll find it. So I'll take Alabama here, but I expect it to be just as close as last year, but not as high scoring.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in a state of mind where basically after both games were played, I was like, Alabama, they can lose this game, which I do feel they can lose this game. But I think I've settled down a little bit through the week and have gone back to what I've been thinking. I mean, Saban's had teams where he had quarterbacks that like weren't dynamic and weren't expected to do big yards.
Clock managers, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, A.J. McCarron's first championship against LSU, I think he was a sophomore in that game.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any expectation for him to do a ton in that game. The defense and the running game is what got him there. That's Nick Saban's bread and butter. I think they're going to probably, through this week, I bet you they've probably looked at every explosive play from Clemson's whole year so he can try to have his defensive back set, and he's tried to find every hole in Clemson's all line that he can to try to figure out a way to stop Deshaun Watson. And I also have to go back and look. I don't know what the reason for this is, but Clemson's offense hasn't looked like that at all this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if there was just some kind of matchup deal that Dabo Swinney found, or just were they really taking the whole year off until they got here, and now that they see Alabama ahead of them, now they're feeling it. But I'm not sure if we get back-to-back performances like that from Clemson, especially against the best defense in the country. They're missing some stuff in the secondary that showed early against Washington, but they still ended up clamping down and causing turnovers and making big plays. I think they're still capable of that. So I do see Alabama winning this. I do see the score getting, in the high 20s, low 30s.
Yeah.
But I think Alabama gets another close game that they pull off, off the back of that defense and Bo Scarborough. And like I said, I think they put Hurts in a couple good situations where he has an easier throw to make and get him some little confidence early, so late he's at least poised enough to make the smart plays.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bama as well on this one. I just think Nick Saban, he isn't fazed by any of this. If he wins this one, hands down, I do like Bear more than Saban, but either way, if he pulls this off, he's the greatest coach of all time in college football. It's cemented. But yeah, I think Bama's defense are going to step up. Scarborough, I do like him. I think he's gonna have a great game running the football. But I called him out last year to have a big game. OJ, I'm feeling it again this year as well. I think they're gonna have some plays with him to kind of help bail Hurts out in situations. So I think he's gonna have a pretty good game too. Especially with they got Ridley as well. So they have the pieces to help Hurts. Just what are they going to do to help him move the ball and make sure he doesn't get rattled at the biggest stage of them all for him. So, yeah, do got Bama, man. It's going to be another classic like last year, I believe. I just think it's going to be less scoring this time around.
I got to say, if there's one person Clemson better cover, it's OJ Howard.
Yeah, I guess they can't let him beat you twice.
Yeah. Well, I'm feeling it again, man. I think, dude's been quiet. It's time for him to start, getting it in. So I think this might be another big game for him. All right, guys. Do you guys have anything else to add for NCAA?
No.
Watch
the game.
Yeah, can't wait for it.
Sad it's almost over.
Yep. All right, we're about to move right into the NFL. We got quite a bit to cover for that. But first, before we get into it, shout out to Darnell, man. He won our first ever NFL Pick'ems. This was close all the way. All right, Darnell score of 47 out of 84. Tyler had a score out of 44 out of 84, and I had 43 out of 84. So basically still came in within the last week. Anybody had a shot of winning it. So, but Darnell pulled it off, man. Anything to say, champ?
Better luck next time, boys. Wow.
All right, man. Yeah,
I just pick games and I don't try to talk.
Yeah, man.
And for finishing in second, I'll say I hope we all have better percentages next year.
Yeah, we definitely could have been better in the percentages for that, because we all made it all over 500 at least, so can't complain there. But
I was gonna say one more than a loss. I'm at least happy.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into these wild cards, we're gonna make our Super Bowl predictions. Who do you guys have playing in the Super Bowl, and who do you have winning it all?
Ooh.
Me, I'll get mine out the way with. I do have a rematch. I have the Giants beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna follow suit with one of those teams and take the Patriots. But out of the NFC, I'm actually gonna go with the Packers.
All right.
I'm going homerific in both ways. Actually, I'm gonna go with an old school Super Bowl matchup. I have Dallas over the Steelers.
Ooh.
Oh, that would get some ratings there, man.
Yeah.
Nobody has the Lions.
You can only ride the train for so long.
Oh man.
I would have actually picked them to advance if they would have beat the Packers and got home field. I would have picked them to beat the Giants, but
yeah, man.
I don't see it happening this way.
Yeah, walking into that hostile arena, I don't see it happening in Seattle either.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one for them, but we'll get into that we'll get into it right now. First game, we're about to talk about is Detroit versus Seattle. How are you guys feeling about this game, and who do you think will win?
I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm actually gonna pick Seattle here. One of the very few times I picked against the Lions this year, but I don't know. Lions are bad on pass defense. Don't tend to play well. Well, don't tend to play very well in the hostile environments. Granted, last year they almost won in Seattle, but that was last year. This is this year. Lions don't have a run game, no pass defense. Two pretty vital things if you want to win a football game. So really all they could hope for is Russell Wilson can't complete passes. Thomas Rawls only runs for about 2 yards a carry. And Stafford's on his A game. And that's what it would take, but I think that's just asking for too many things.
Yeah, I mean, as nice as it's been to see Zach Zenner in his first half performances, I don't see much that Detroit has for Seattle. Just they're going to get pressure. They're going to make Stafford uncomfortable. That secondary is just too physical, I think, and I just don't see the Lions having enough time, and they don't have the running game to force them to back up some to give Stafford time. So I just think it's going to be a long day for Stafford, and a situation where the Lions defense is on the field too long and they just get tired and get ran over.
Just real quick, Tyler, you said you had the Patriots over Green Bay, right?
Yeah, I would pick the Patriots over Green Bay.
Just putting this down. All right, okay. Up next, what about Oakland versus Houston?
Well, Oakland probably is the most unfortunate team in the NFL. They went from the 2nd seed in the AFC to the 5th seed and on a 3rd string quarterback. But the thing I will say, they drew the best matchup for being on your 3rd string quarterback. You knew Houston only had a defense, so that was going to be a struggle really no matter who you had. And Brock Osweiler's hot garbage. So I honestly think that it's the best matchup they could have pulled. The only thing that would have been nicer would have been, I mean, obviously the bye week and a week to get Connor Cook ready. But to be thrown into it game 1, I don't think they could have asked for much better.
Yeah, but this is the game of futility.
Yeah.
Who do you got in the Tigers?
Only because I don't know what the 3-headed monster known as the backfield of Oakland is going to do. I'm going to go with the home team here and take Houston.
Yeah, it's probably the smarter pick, but I'm gonna show some school pride on this one and
all right,
go with the rookie. See, he steps in and gets himself a playoff win in his first start. I don't think they try to let him do a lot. I think they go what I was talking about with Alabama. They depend on that running game and hopefully their front seven steps up like they had been doing late in the year. They do have some. They have some good players on their defense. It's just they have to play like it. Houston has a consistent defense, but they have no offense, in my opinion. So, like you were saying, Todd, this is probably the best matchup they could ask for the situation they're in. So, I'm going to take Oakland to eke out a nasty game. Probably a lot of work for kickers.
Yeah.
And Janikowski is a pretty good one to have.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. Well, anything else to add to this game, guys?
I don't watch
it.
Yeah. It's not appointment viewing. Are we doing a pick here?
Well, do you guys want to? I can add them.
May as well pick the game. We picked the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go with Houston here. I just like their defense a little bit more.
All right. Yeah, we could do that. We'll do the playoffs too.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 4 games to pick.
All right. We all got Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Put this down real quick. Yeah, we do our playoff pick 'em. And all right, just to make sure, Darnell, you had Oakland, right?
Yep.
Okay. Tyler, who did you have?
Houston.
Okay, Houston. I will go with Oakland on this one. It's going to be an ugly game, but I just think they'll find a way to pull it out. All right, guys. What about Miami versus Pitt?
I think this could potentially be a blowout. Jay Ajayi, really good player, but I just don't know that the Dolphins have enough in the passing game to go on the road. They basically need the home run ball or nothing. So I just like the balance that the Steelers have offensively. Eli Rogers has stepped up and been a nice player for them this year. The addition of Ladarius Green has been big once he got healthy, and you obviously have Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger's won a few Super Bowls, so he knows what it takes from this position. The Dolphins are kind of one of the new kids on the block here, so I'll take the Steelers here, potentially really big.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my pick is made on this one from us making Super Bowl predictions, of course. But Miami's playing with a backup quarterback. They have a very good running back, but I think the Steelers are a little bit too much for them here with all the firepower they have on offense, and the defense has been playing better late.
Yeah, I hate to pick them, but I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. I just think overall just better talent and just a more composed team. It's definitely used to winning, so I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. And then last but not least, this is the one I'm really going to be interested in watching. Green Bay versus the Giants. Y'all already know who I got, so what are your thoughts on this game? Who do you got winning?
Yeah, this is, I think, the more intriguing matchup for Wildcard weekend. Packers are hot, Giants are hot. Both quarterbacks have at least one Super Bowl. Both experienced teams, experienced rosters. OBJ, this is uncharted territory for him, but I think he'll be fine. I don't think he's anyone you need to worry about. I think the difference here is going to be Ty Montgomery. They've really found something with him in the backfield. The Packers are really rolling when he plays well. So I'm going to take the Packers here. Aaron Rodgers is beyond hot right now. Devontae Adams has been a very nice addition for them. And Jordy Nelson's been Jordy Nelson this year. So I'll take the Packers by a couple scores.
Yeah, this is like that that game between two teams that not really anybody wants to play in the NFC. I mean, outside of the Cowboys' consistency, I'll say these two teams have been the hottest late.
Yeah.
Green Bay basically running the table, and the Giants have been very good outside of flopping their second to last game of the year against Washington, I believe it was. But interesting matchup. It's hard for me to pick. But I think I'm gonna roll with the Giants here. I just think that pass rush can do enough to bother Aaron Rodgers and keep him contained to where he's not basically doing what he wants to do, like he's done basically the last 3 weeks, and cause enough havoc to keep the game low, the score low enough to where the Giants have a shot to pull off a close one.
All right. Guys, anything else to add for NFL? Or
Go
just
Lions.
All right.
Go Lions. Picking against them, but
root for them.
That's logic.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see, how those guys are going to play against that Seattle D.
Yeah.
So just had to see. Wish them the best of luck, man. Definitely exceeded my expectations for them. All right, guys, that's it.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, as always, I appreciate you all for tuning into the show. Like I was telling the guys before, this Friday would be officially a year since we've been doing this. So we've been getting it in, I think we've improved a lot over the year. Still looking to keep improving, keep going at it. So appreciate y'all for sticking with us. As always, you can find us on Twitter at DKM_cast. You can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, podcast.com. Just hit us up in the search engine, and we should be available for you guys to see us and listen to us. So, as always, I appreciate you guys. Y'all take it easy. Have a good one. And by the way, if you're in the car, check out my cousin's YouTube channel, The Black Scat Pack. But as always, guys, take care, and catch you guys on the next go-round. Peace.